Just a few years ago, I sold my company and had over $10 million sitting in the bank. I was set for life, at least that's what I told myself. I honestly believed that amount of money could never, ever run out. And then, just 3 years later, every single dollar was gone. Now, this isn't some story about a crazy market crash or an elaborate scam. This is the story of a financial train wreck that I built myself, one disastrous decision at a time. It's a story about insane overspending, disastrous investments, and one single tax bill that brought me to my knees and erased a fortune. I'm going to walk you through exactly how it all fell apart, mistake by mistake, so you don't have to learn these lessons the hard way. Let's rewind 3 years. I'm in my late 20s, and after 5 years of nonstop grinding, I'm talking ramen for dinner and sleeping under my desk, I sold my tech startup. The number that actually hit my bank account was staggering. Just north of $10 million. I can't even describe the feeling. It was pure validation. It was absolute freedom. It was being able to look my parents in the eye and tell them they never had to worry about money again. Seeing all those zeros just short-circuited my brain. I'd had a scarcity mindset my entire life, and suddenly I was thrown into this world of just absolute abundance. My first thought wasn't, how do I protect this? It was, how could I possibly ever spend all of this? That question turned out to be tragically easy to answer. I genuinely believed the game was over and I'd won. But the truth is, a new, much more dangerous game was just getting started. The first mistake, the one that really opened the floodgates, was an explosion of lifestyle inflation. It started small, or what felt small at the time. I swapped my trusty sedan for a six-figure sports car. I bought a multi-million-dollar house in the trendiest part of the city because, hey, that's what successful people do, right? The problem with big purchases like that, they have children. The expensive house needed expensive furniture, the sports car needed ridiculously expensive maintenance, and my new expensive life needed an expensive social circle to go with it. Suddenly I was that guy, the one grabbing every outrageous dinner bill. I was flying friends across the country for weekend parties. A family member needs a new car? I got it. An old college buddy has a can't-miss business idea? Here's a $50,000 check, no questions asked. Don't get me wrong, generosity is a wonderful thing. But let's be honest, this wasn't generosity. This was a full-blown ego trip. I was just playing the part of the big shot self-made millionaire. I had no budget. Why would I need one? I had millions. Budgeting was for poor people, and I wasn't poor anymore. I was bleeding money from 1,000 tiny cuts and a few massive ones. My lifestyle alone, the mortgage, cars, travel, parties, gifts, was costing me over $100,000 a month. In my head, it was a drop in the bucket. In reality, I was draining the bucket, and fast. This next mistake, this was the knockout punch. The one mistake that even without all the other stupid spending, I never could have recovered from. I completely, utterly, and foolishly ignored my tax liability. When you sell a business, you're hit with a massive capital gains tax. Now, intellectually, I knew this, but I didn't feel it. I saw $10 million in my account and my brain just said, that's all yours. I'd hired an accountant, sure, but I was way too busy living my new life to actually sit down and listen to him. I dodged the calls, I postponed the meetings. I figured it was a problem for future me. And then the bill arrived. It was for multiple millions of dollars. I remember opening that letter and my blood just running cold. The number was so big it looked like a typo. It wasn't. It was real and it was due. The panic was immediate. It was suffocating. By this point, a huge chunk of my cash was already gone, vaporized into my lifestyle. Another huge piece was tied up in the most illiquid asset you can own, my house. I didn't have millions in cash anymore. To pay the government, I had to start selling things. But you can't just sell a multi-million-dollar house overnight. This single, avoidable error threw me into a state of total financial desperation. It was the exact moment the dream flipped into a nightmare. And it forced my hand into my next and perhaps most foolish mistake. Instead of cutting my losses, admitting defeat, and just downsizing my life, my ego wouldn't allow it. I couldn't face the humiliation. So I did what so many people do when they're stuck in a hole. I started digging. Faster. I thought, I'm smart. I made 10 million once, I can make a few million back. I just need to get aggressive. This is where overconfidence, fueled by pure panic, became a lethal cocktail. I started chasing absurdly high-risk speculative investments. I was convinced I could time the market, score a few huge wins, and make my tax problem disappear. I dove headfirst into the most volatile corners of the crypto market, not based on any real research, but on pure hype and a desperate need for a quick home run. I was making six-figure bets on meme coins based on a few hours of reading Reddit forums. I started day trading options, a notoriously complex game that I had absolutely no business playing. Every small win felt like proof I was a genius. Every loss was just bad luck, so I doubled down to win it back. I was drowning in financial FOMO, reading stories about overnight crypto millionaires and thinking that has to be me. It wasn't investing, it was pure gambling with a fancy name. I was emotional, impulsive, and completely out of my depth. Instead of clawing back the money for my tax bill, I was just setting the rest of my fortune on fire. The millions I had left dwindled at a terrifying rate. It's a classic trap. Thinking success in one area automatically makes you an expert investor. I couldn't have been more wrong. That last year was a complete blur of mounting stress and deep, deep denial. I started getting margin calls. I was selling off assets at a huge loss just to cover debts. Those friends who were so happy to party on my dime, suddenly they were nowhere to be found. The pressure was crushing me. My entire identity was wrapped up in being the rich guy. And as the money vanished, I felt like I was vanishing too. Hitting zero wasn't a single dramatic moment. It was a slow, agonizing grind all the way to the bottom. The day I had to sell the sports car. The day the bank officially foreclosed on the house. The day I checked my bank account and saw a balance of less than $1,000. 3 years. From over $10 million to absolutely nothing. The train wreck was complete. I was broke, deep in debt, and just completely humiliated. All I had to show for it was a few expensive watches and a mountain of regret. It was, without a doubt, the lowest point of my entire life. You know what they say about hitting rock bottom? It gives you a solid foundation to build on. And in the stark clarity of having absolutely nothing, the lessons became painfully obvious. Lesson 1. The money is never infinite. I don't care how much you have, you need a plan. You need a budget. Wealth without discipline is just a vacation from being broke. Lifestyle inflation is a quiet tide that will sink your ship if you don't drop an anchor. Lesson 2. The tax man is your most important business partner. Plan for your taxes before you spend a single dollar. The second a windfall hits your account, a huge slice of it isn't yours. It belongs to the government. Move that money into a separate account immediately and do not touch it. Seriously, this one move could have saved me. Lesson 3, get a team and a plan, and then actually listen to them. I thought I was smart enough to handle it all myself. What an idiot. You need a team of professionals, a fiduciary financial advisor, a CPA, an attorney, before you make any big moves. And then you need to actually listen to their advice. Wait at least 6 months before making any huge financial decisions after coming into money. Just let the emotions settle down. And the final lesson, slow is fast. Get rich quick schemes are almost always get poor quick schemes in disguise. Boring, diversified, long-term investing isn't sexy, but it works. Chasing hype and making emotional bets is a guaranteed way to lose. My story is a cautionary tale, but I hope it's more than that. I hope it serves as a roadmap of financial landmines for you to avoid. If you got any value from my very expensive mistakes, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And I'd genuinely love to read your own financial lessons, the good and the bad, down in the comments. The more we talk about this stuff, the more we all learn. Losing that money was the most painful experience of my life, but in a strange way, it was also the most valuable. It forced me to completely redefine what success means. It's not about the number in your bank account. It's about security, peace of mind, and the wisdom to know that real wealth isn't something you can spend. It's something you have to build, slowly and carefully, one smart decision at a time. I lost $10 million, but I gained a lesson that's priceless. And now I'm starting over. This time, I'm doing it right.